Welcome to The Art Confidential, the podcast where we dive into the parts of being a creative that usually stay off Instagram.
We're your hosts, Andreina and Jackie. We're sitting down with artists, gallery owners, creative insiders, and each other for honest conversations about art, creativity, self-doubt, connection, and the real life that happens in between the making.
This isn't about perfection, and it's definitely not about romanticizing the hustle.
It's about creating a space where curiosity thrives, community matters, and we all grow together. Let's go.
Our guest today is proof that there is no single path to a creative life. For more than 4 decades, Erik Larson has built a remarkable career as both a professional designer and an underground filmmaker, creating colorful, irreverent, joy-filled films with the same group of collaborators he first started working with as a teenager in Chicago.
Entirely self-taught, Erik has written, directed, shot, and edited over a dozen films, including 2 feature-length musicals made on Super 8 films, with budgets that would barely cover craft services on most productions. Along the way, he's built a successful career as an art director and creative director in television, earned a reputation as a talent whisperer, and Erik saw his film series Doormat premiere to a packed house and standing ovation at Los Angeles' legendary New Beverly Cinema.
Through it all, Erik has remained committed to creativity, collaboration, and bringing joy to every project he touches.
Today, we're talking about filmmaking, creative longevity, self-doubt, friendship, community, and what it means to keep making art with the people you love for more than 40 years. Welcome, Erik, to the Art Confidential.
Yay! Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Hello.
Here we are.
That's usually the hardest part.
For us.
You did
Easy peasy.
Bravo.
But we always have a blooper reel for sure.
I have a few of those myself.
So let's get right into the origin. You started
Okay.
making films as a teenager in Chicago in 1984.
I
What
did.
was the moment when you realized, I'm not just watching movies anymore, I want to make them?
It was something I always wanted to do. And I loved movies from the time I was a little kid. I would be under the table in my grandma's dining room watching movies till 2 a.m, and then she'd come out and scold me. But I loved Rosalind Russell and Marilyn Monroe and all these, Cary Grant, all these great classic stars. And it was what I really hoped to do in life. And then one day I just started doing it.
When you say you started doing it, did you just literally start doing it? You didn't go to film school, did you?
No, I didn't go to film school. I was planning to, and it just was not in the budget. So I had to start working. I started 2 weeks after high school, working my full-time job that I ended up at for 17 years. And but when I was a little kid, I really wanted a movie camera, and my folks couldn't afford it. And, I asked for it for Christmas, and they brought me in and to temper my expectations and said, we'd like to, it's really not going to happen. And it didn't happen. And I was okay with it. And we went to visit my uncle, and my dad was talking to him, and my uncle said, you know what? You can have my camera. And he gave me his movie camera.
Oh.
And so I started doing silent movies with my little brother and my nephew, and my mom babysat for these kids. So I made them do all kinds of crazy monster movies and things. And so it just continued after that. I got a sound camera. I think it was probably 16 or so. And so I met the person who started calling herself Uncle Alice when I was 14 and she was 17. And, she's got star quality. I don't know if you've seen many of her performances, but she's hard to deny. And so something clicked in me. I'm like, I have to use her. And I came up with this idea sort of on the spot for this movie called The Deranged Daughter of Daphne Dickinson and the Leftovers from Hell. It was actually 1983, right when I got out of school, and I called her. So I was 18, so she was just 21. And I called her and I said, okay, so I have this idea. Would you be the mother to a teenager. And she's yelled at me and hung up on me and got very mad. And then she called back and said, okay, when do we do it? And she's in it. She plays the mom. And she played the mom for most of the movies that we've done together.
So your films were influenced by John Waters, but you've clearly developed your own voice. So how would you describe an Erik Larson film to someone who has never seen one? Give me an elevator pitch.
That's a good question, because I don't think any of us see our art from the way up view. We're so deep into it. If I try to explain it to people and they don't get it, then I just say John Waters and they go, oh, okay. But they're colorful, they're musical, they're hopefully funny. I think they're funny. A lot of people have hopefully enjoyed them over the years. And they're wacky, silly, fun.
Well, I need to see. I haven't watched any of them, but definitely will after this interview, because now I'm more curious than I was before. And I find it so fascinating because I have teenage boys right now and they really have no idea what they want to do. So for you to know so early, like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I love to do, and for that to actually have been what you did is amazing to me.
Well, the funny part is I didn't know how to get there. So,
right. Yeah, but you knew what you wanted. That's half the battle.
But I worked in a warehouse. I pulled orders. I worked pulling cassettes and 45s, if anybody remembers those.
Oh, yeah.
And I was this little skinny 120-pound, 6'2" kid that they taught me to carry giant boxes of LPs, which were very heavy.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, I would gather people that I worked with and friends, and we would make these films. And then we started off showing them in my basement, and then my basement couldn't hold everybody who wanted to see them. So we moved on to showing them in clubs and bars around Chicago.
That's amazing.
So you had really no financial backers. You were just, it was like low budget. So how did you get your locations, or how did you make films? Really, how did you do it?
In my house. Certainly didn't do permits or anything like that. We just would do it guerrilla style and just go out on the street and just shoot things and, dash away before anybody could catch us. And we've done some really wacky things on the street. I dressed some of my actresses as hookers and dropped them in the middle of Cicero Avenue. I went across the street and shot them okay, back in the car.
Well, you could have raised some money to finance the film if you put them to work.
You didn't see how they were dressed.
Even our dear friend Carrie has had many roles, right?
Yes. So Jackie and I have a mutual friend, Carrie, and Carrie is the kindest, sweetest person probably that I've ever met. Would you agree, Jackie?
100%.
Yeah.
And very private. So not somebody that you would expect to put on a hooker wig or be the bad character. She looks angelic, and yet
she does.
You cast her.
She's the villain. Every time she's the villain. And she's so good at it. And I think she gets a kick out of it because it's so opposite to everything that she is and that she stands for. And even some of the lines that I've had her do, she's like, "Oh, honey, I don't know about this." And I'm like, "Let's just try it." that was good, right? It sounded like her.
Yes. So I guess that segues into the talent whisperer. So would that be an example of how you got her to work out of her comfort zone?
I guess so. Where I work now, they have called me the talent whisperer because I was thrown into this role where I do photo shoots and video shoots with our talent, and they're people that you recognize. They're well-known household names, and it's a little scary. But I was working with reality competition stars, and they're regular people who have never stood there while thousands of photos were shot of them, and so it hit me early on that this was what I have always done with my cast and my films, trying to make them comfortable doing these wacky things that are way outside their comfort zone. And so I do whatever I can to be silly or funny. And everybody usually has a really good day. I had one guy come in who has been in the business for just decades and decades. And he walked in, he's like, listen, man, I hate doing this stuff. I'm sorry. Just telling you now. I'm like, cool. Hopefully you're going to have a good day. At the end of our shoot, I had him doing all kinds of crazy things and jumping and doing ridiculous things. And he came up to me and he gave me a big hug. And he said, that was the most fun I've ever had doing one of these. And I was like, I think that's my superpower.
Yeah, that is your superpower. I also know that you have described your filmmaking as your secret life. So I'm interested.
True.
Is this like, you had this friend of yours playing a hooker, you got a secret life. So now I'm like curious, what kind of secret life are we talking about?
Unless I have pulled people into this weird little cult thing that I've done, most people don't know about it. And then usually what would happen is I would go around work and be like, hey, so I made this movie. So it's playing this weekend at the Beat Kitchen if you want to come. Tickets are $3 and it's almost sold out. So got tickets right here. And that's, for a lot of people, that's the first that they heard of this. Jackie, had you heard of our films?
I mean, just from Carrie, she, again, she's so private, but and I've seen some photos, some stills of really great characters.
But
for sure.
Yeah, they're fun and they're all inspired by things in my life, which is, I think, where I really kind of diverted from the John Waters type of thing. Because my stories are not necessarily for shock. They are little tidbits of my life, which I think is what we all do as artists. We find some little thing that others would overlook, and we make art from that.
Did somebody play you? Did you have, were you in your films? Did you?
Always. Everybody plays me.
Oh, so they're all kind of a combination.
Yeah.
You're in all of them.
I'm also physically in them because for some reason people think it's really funny. I don't. I think I'm terrible. I'll send you some photos.
Yes.
I think I'm awful, but everybody laughs when I come on screen or they applaud. And I'm like, okay, y'all like it? We'll keep doing it.
I'll give you some. It's fine.
I mean, the people have spoken. What can I do?
Exactly. They're asking for more. This is like a very interesting cast of characters that you do this with. So do you have like a favorite story from like one of your shoots?
Oh gosh, so many. But I'll go back to Carrie because Carrie being the sweetest person in the world, we were shooting outside. We were in Montrose in Chicago, shooting the scene at a phone booth. And Carrie was there and Faith Darling. Nobody uses their real names for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, that's so funny. It is a secret life.
they show up and they go, my name is Carrie DeWay. I'm like, okay, cool.
Carrie DeWay.
Yeah.
She could be on RuPaul.
Exactly. That's Carrie's Carrie DeWay. There's Uncle Alice. There's Gina Cappuccino. Like, once the ball started rolling with Uncle Alice, now everybody gives me fake names. Like, okay, that's fine. But we were shooting out there with Faith and Carrie, and this little kid rides his bike up and he says, "What are you doing?" And Faith was all business, and she's like, "Go away," knowing that we had to like do this and zip out of there before someone catches us. So Faith goes to do her thing or touch up her makeup. And Carrie goes over and says, well, you see, what we're doing is we're making an independent film and it's shot on Super 8. And she's explaining to this kid and Faith just comes back and says, you're still here? I told you to go away. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
So you're now considering interviewing the people that have appeared in your films. So is that going to be like a whole like documentary film in itself?
I don't have a specific end plan for it, but it hit me recently. I went back to Chicago to see everybody, and it hit me how long we've known one another, how long we've been doing this together. And I'm like, and everybody's got funny stories that some of them even I don't know. So they'll tell me something like, I had no idea this was going on. So I thought, it would be great to chat with everybody and get them to tell their stories. I can tell my impressions of things and see how they all weave into a larger story.
So have any of your collaborators ever surprised you by bringing something to a project that completely changed it for the better? So you had your secret life story, but then somebody brought a secret sauce that topped it.
Everybody. That's the interesting thing about writing these projects. I know everybody likes to think that they're completely made up on the spot, but they're not. I have giant scripts for everything.
Oh, that was my next question.
Oh yeah, it's all fully scripted, but they stray sometimes. But everybody's interpretation of my words, and I know what the intent was behind things, but everybody comes to it, pulling their own inspiration, their own life story into it, and it becomes something very rich then. And I love that. That's the best part of collaborating with the same people over and over, is they continue to surprise me, bring new things.
And you said you want everyone on your set to have fun.
Yes.
Why is creating a positive atmosphere so important to you and your work? And how do you do that?
Well, I don't. Up to this point, I haven't paid anybody to be in these projects. Sorry to say. So the best I can offer is for them to have fun and come away with stories. And, I'll feed them and we'll do big parties and things to celebrate. But, I don't hand everybody a paycheck at the end. So they're really doing it for the love of it. And I never want anybody to have a miserable time. Like that's no good for anybody. How do I do it? I don't know. I really have no answer for that other than what I've mentioned. Like I go into it with the attitude, like we're going to have fun. And I want it to be fun for me too. And the unexpected things always happen. And we have great laughs over them. Tons of blooper reels. It's almost all blooper reels. We probably end up showing maybe 30% of what we shot and the rest is blooper.
I just want to say Andreina and I are free and ready for your next film. And I already have my name. I have my name.
What is your name?
Have you guys watched RuPaul's Drag Race? Mm-hmm. Shantae, you stay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the spicy tamale.
That's your name, girl.
See, you just named yourself.
Yeah, I don't know about film, but now I'm excited. I'm like, I want to be in the film. Let's go.
We're willing to travel.
Excellent.
I mean, he's hitting all the things that Jack and I really love, right? Like collaboration, showing up as yourself, finding joy. It doesn't have to be this heavy, shock or, there is just so much joy in just getting together and being in community. Yeah. And obviously you're creating a safe space for them because if after 40 years they still want to do this for free, clearly you're doing something right.
And really, as I look back the last couple of years, it hit me. I'm like, this is our legacy. It's my legacy, and it's everybody who's involved with this. This is something that we have done that we never realized is, kind of cool. Like, not everybody does this. And at the time, we just sort of took it for granted, and we just chugged along. Like every year, we'd make a new movie. And now, now I look back, I'm like, that was pretty cool. And so part of my goal for the next couple of years is to loosen my super tight hold on all of this stuff, because I really have been very controlling about who and when people get to see this, and sort of let them out into the world a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's what completes the cycle, right? Like we were talking about in a previous episode, is like the cycle of the artist is not completed until you actually just let it go. And that's usually the scariest thing, right? Because it's so
absolutely
in such a vulnerable state, because it's different. Like, you're enjoying it. They're all enjoying it. But, putting it out there is always a little scary.
And even doing shows, it was me kind of tipping my toe into it, but not really fully committing. Like, it's scary. You both know, like, when you're an artist, people do and say things that hurt your feelings, something that you created, that you put your passion and your time into, and then someone looks at it and they're like, that's a piece of crap.
Oh, yeah.
and it's hard not to be affected by that. But part of the beauty of being older too is I kind of don't really care as much what people think. And that it's very freeing.
Oh gosh, it's so liberating. Getting
really
into your,
is.
Middle age is like, I mean, everything hurts more, but physically,
Oh,
And
yes.
still dropping. and-
physically everything hurts more. But it's so
girl.
liberating to just want to be yourself. Like I was just having this conversation with another artist. I'm like, I wish, we would know what we know now when we were in our 20s, right? Because there was so much
Yeah.
holding us back because we were so worried about everything else. And now it's like, I don't care. What are they going to do about it?
Yeah. Whatever. Say what you're going to say. Who cares?
Yeah.
I did have somebody came up after one of our films. This was a long time ago. This was in the late 80s. And they asked me, they said, so how much did you spend on this? And I said, it was about $2,000. And most of that went towards the film itself because the film was always really expensive compared to what I was making at the time. I was making like $4 or $5 an hour. So,
Yeah, it's a big investment.
$30 for 3 minutes of film is a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
It also made me try to keep people from laughing as much, but it's another story. But these people came up and they started asking me questions, and I thought, oh, this is great. Somebody I don't know, engaging. And after I told them, they said, well, for $2,000, I could have done this and I would have done this. And I just said, but you didn't, did you?
Well, you didn't.
But
you
you
didn't,
didn't.
darling.
And I just said, have a good night, and walked away.
Good for you.
But-
We get that a lot as painters.
Mhm.
I often hear like, oh, well, two things, because we have open to the public studios, so we can hear and see people walking around looking at our work, which is a blessing and a curse. But sometimes
I
we
would
get
imagine.
like, especially the abstract stuff. Oh, my 6-year-old could do that.
Yeah.
Or, I love this. Joan, you should do this. And they take pictures of you should do this.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, all the time. Can I take pictures? I'm like, yeah, sure. Great. I want to show this to my husband so he can make it. I've gotten that a
then
lot.
you're off at a thrift store or something. You see some terrifying interpretation of your art. Like,
Oh,
great.
gosh.
I've
Yeah.
seen it online, actually.
Yeah.
I actually had one lady directly copy a painting, the composition, the colors, everything. And then she taught an online class. And the only reason I found out was because one of my Instagram followers said, hey, this lady is doing this. And I contacted her and said, look, you've plagiarized my work. And she said, oh, get over yourself. I didn't copy you, whatever. And I was like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
well, luckily I had the post. She signed her piece and had the date on it. And I had the post of the exact, a much better
Yeah.
version, obviously.
Really?
And it was dated. And then she backed down and went, oh, well, I guess maybe I saw it on Pinterest or something. And she took the class down. But then she came after me like, get over
That's-
yourself. I was like, really,
Oh
lady?
my God. It's
It happens.
infuriating. I
Mhm.
know. It does happen. It's going to happen, but it's still annoying.
Oh, yeah. So, what does self-doubt sound like now? Obviously, we've talked about how much freer we are in our middle age. But when you were,
That's
in
very
your
polite.
20s, like, because we still have, like, even, as grown as adults right now, we still have self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Sometimes I'm like, what am I even doing? Right? Like, it still happens. But how is it different now than it was for you, like in your 20s?
I think the biggest difference is that I have a little more perspective on it. And if I start going to those places, I check myself and go, why are you doing this? You're wasting your time. I have mentored a lot of younger artists, which has been a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I can see in them a lot of the things that I struggled with over the years. And I have gone to them and said, do you feel like an imposter? And they're like, yeah. And I said, we all do.
We all do.
We all do at one time or another. And you just push past it. And that's what I try to do now, is just push past the doubt. And, I also know that not everything that I do is going to appeal to everybody, and that's fine.
Oh,
If
you don't
I get
want it
that-
to.
No.
Right.
You get that one person you get somebody coming up to me years later and quoting a line from my film. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Right.
And ironically, it was the line that Carrie DeWay was very hesitant to say, and my films, just to backtrack for a second, a lot of the things may seem a little inappropriate, but they're in there specifically to poke fun at the people who think that's okay, who do these things, and that's just how I am, so accept me. So a lot of Carrie's characters are really poking fun at the sort of villainous or, I don't care about anybody else but me characters in life that we encounter. So Carrie had, in Doormat, she had a daughter who wanted to be a star. And the daughter, Carrie's trying to give her cake. And she's like, oh, no, Mom, I'm diabetic. And Carrie just says, diabetes is an urban myth. And Carrie read it and she's like, honey, I don't know about this. And I was like, well, let's try it. And we did an alt take as well. And we put it in when we did the show at the New Bev, killed the entire place. And Carrie came up to me afterwards and she's like, okay, I was wrong. That was really funny.
And that was the line that people quote. Oh my gosh.
And so I have friends who just will call me out of the blue and just go, diabetes is an urban myth. and then just start cackling, laughing.
Was there ever a project that almost didn't get finished because you kind of second guessed or lost confidence? And how did you turn the corner? Or did it not get finished?
I have several that have not gotten finished for one reason or another. I have a whole back catalog of things that I started. Some of them got as far as scripts. Some of them we started shooting. And, sometimes things just get in the way. Life gets in the way, or somebody drops out, or, whatever. You lose your passion. You think of something else. You go towards that. I did one called Hags to Riches that, God, I probably shouldn't talk about this, but had a scene in there that people, when they saw it afterwards, after we shot it, they're like, oh, yikes, I'm not good with this. And it was one of the more tame things that was going to be in there. And so I was kind of figuring out what to do. And then my mom died and I was really young. I was like 20. And so I was like, okay, I'm not feeling this anymore. So I have these little fragments of film from that. The inappropriate ones that still horrify the actors to this day. And I've got quite a few of those, and I've been getting my films transferred professionally the last couple of years. And so I've started working those into it, and I'm sending snippets to people going, hey, remember this? And they're like, oh, what is this? Carrie's like, that's not me. I'm like, it is you. It is. She's like, I don't think so. But we have one project that we started in 1992, and I was asked to participate in this. It was going to be like an AIDS charity fundraiser thing, and they came to me and they're like, "You can make a film and do whatever you want. We'll show it at this thing, and the people who are running it have an editing facility, so you can use their facility." I'm like, "Great!" So I went to Carrie. Carrie had a song she had written that was inspired by the AIDS crisis that we were well deep in the middle of at that point. Asked her if she would be on board with it. She's like, yeah, let's do it. This project ended up costing as much as any of my features, which was all my money at the time. We rented this old movie palace. They actually gave it to us for free, but I had to get $1 million insurance policy for a 6-hour period.
Wow.
So that was a little pricey. And then the film, and I had all these extras involved. So when I'd finished shooting it, and I called up the guys with the editing facility, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to start editing. I don't know what I'm doing though. I've never edited on video. And they said, okay, well, your rate is going to be $45 an hour. And I think I was making like $6.50 or $7 an hour at the time. Like, I can't do that. They're like, well, that's your rate. So I pulled the plug on it, much to the dismay of everybody involved, who had, really gracefully given their time and their effort, got up at 4 a.m. on a Saturday and spent the day at this theater, put it away, never looked at it again. But it always bothered me. It always really is an albatross that I never finished it. So the most recent batch of films I got transferred, I threw that in there. I watched it. I watched the footage. I had a little bit of a breakdown. It brought up all kinds of emotions. And then I sat down and said, I'm going to put this together. And
Oh,
in 2 days, I cut it together. I sent it to Carrie without warning, which probably wasn't the nicest thing because, here's something that we shot 34 years ago. Surprise. But, she's coming around to it, I think. But I felt it was an important thing at the time because of what we were trying to get across. And I feel it's important now because it's in the rearview mirror, but so many people don't realize how overwhelming this was at the time. And there's a couple of shots in there where there's this giant wall in the back of the theater and it's covered with newspaper clippings. And they were all obituaries from the gay papers at the time. Because you get, these thick papers at the bars and restaurants. It was all obituaries.
wow.
And it was just devastating. So I'm working on finishing that up. I had a long conversation with Carrie the other day about my intentions and why I think it's important. And so she gave her blessing. So we're trying to get a cleaner copy of the song because it only exists on cassette. And then once I have that, then I'll share it with the world.
Oh, wow. That sounds really beautiful.
I'm really proud of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yes, you did.
You oh,
Yeah. And it was great. And she looked fantastic, sounded
my God.
fantastic. It's a great piece. So
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to seeing it officially.
yeah.
But
Yes.
my question is, so looking back to when you started in the late 80s, how do you feel like right now the creative landscape has changed for LGBTQ plus artists? And have we moved forward? How do you think things are different now?
We're at a really weird time right now because I feel like there's a lot of backlash towards people just for who they love. And that's ridiculous to me. And it really sucks because people have struggled for so long to just get to a place of acceptance and not having gay marriage, just having marriage, having just the same rights as other people. And there's so much pushback right now. It's a little scary. It really is. To me, it feels kind of like it did in the early 80s where I would walk down the street and people would throw bottles at me from moving cars,
Wow.
for no reason. And that happened more than once.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
And
Yeah.
that, what you said before, it's in the rearview mirror, but I think the younger people don't realize how recent all that is. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not that long ago, right? To be being thrown bottles, are you kidding me?
Mhm.
It's not. So I think it is important for us to remember. And, I talk about this with my kids too, about women's rights. All of it is
Absolutely.
recent history that minorities, right, were not being treated. They still are not, right? But even worse, you're talking about the 80s or the 90s. So I think it is important to still show up and still fight for all of it, right? Because we're not where we need to be. There is still
Right.
so much to be done.
And why? There's no reason. People
There's
are
no
just
reason.
people. I do think it's important. And as I talk to the younger people that, it's such a blessing to me to be able to help foster young people at the beginning of their careers. But I always tell them, know the history. You need to know the shoulders of giants that we are standing on.
That's right.
Because it was the generation even before me that really fought for the rights that people can take for granted now to a certain extent. So to get back to your question, though, I feel like that's the bad part, that it's, there's still not great stuff going on. The good part is that there are a lot of queer filmmakers or queer artists who are still stepping out and going, this is me. I'm, LGBTQIA+, and this is my art. And I love that. I love that because it's bravery.
Mm-hmm.
Because that crap is going to come at you, but you're like, I'm taking a stand. And there have been opportunities too, which is great to see.
I was encouraged by the success of Heated Rivalry. I mean, we're getting more mainstream characters, even though there's this pushback, we're also seing more in a beautiful lens too, that these are people who love. And
I love the story, Heated Rivalry, I thought was great. I loved the smaller stories in there too, because those really had so much heart to them.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And it's when my whole time that I was coming up, in my 20s, I never wanted to be pigeonholed as a gay filmmaker. I had friends who I knew since high school who would introduce me as my gay friend Eric. I'm like, can you not?
Right.
What?
I'm like,
Can I just be your friend?
yeah, exactly. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that, that you didn't want people to know. I'm like, I don't care if people know, but does that need to be the first thing? It's like, this is my, my tall friend Eric. No, they'll figure it out. It's fine. and I, in the 90s, I started doing interviews about when we were having film premieres and did a lot of the gay papers. The first one I opened it up and the first 3 words, gay filmmaker Eric. And I was like, oh boy, I didn't even think this through. But you know what? It's fine. Because I am. Who cares?
Right. And I do think, though, at least me being a minority, because I'm Latin and a woman and everything, I think before, when I was younger, if people would have described me as the Hispanic, whatever, the Venezuelan, this, I would have been like, no, drop that. But now I'm like, yes.
Right.
Put that down. That is me.
Same.
Put it in. Because I think that's what makes us unique. And that is the superpower. So I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, by all means. You know what? You want to put like little asterisks around it and, spotlight? Go for it.
Yeah, bring it on.
That's right. So it's like embracing it. And maybe that comes with age too, right? Like you're just like...
I think it does.
Yeah.
And it's all such a journey, going from that teenage years and the early 20s and sort of being really unsure of yourself and being worried about what people are going to think and getting to that place where you don't care. And also you're like, why am I hiding this part? Because people find out anyway. So why not just let it be part of what it is?
Yeah. This is all of me. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't care either way if you take it or you leave it.
Exactly.
I will be fine.
That's right. So do you have anything coming up that you're excited about? Obviously, this film that you're, working on, but anything else you want to share?
So I'm working on 2 music videos right now. The one that I've mentioned with Carrie. And then I have another one that we shot on the sly in Vegas recently.
Ooh.
That's what I do. So some of my friends and collaborators, Uncle Alice and Jilly Idol, also not her real name. Jilly does music, and I met her through Uncle Alice in the 80s, and she started doing music for my films, and then we started doing musicals together. So she and Jill and Uncle Alice have been getting together and writing songs and recording songs lately. And they're great. They're like this combination sort of punk, folk, like give no fucks, balls to the wall kind of songs. And I'm totally there for it. And they'll finish one, they'll send it to me and say, okay, now you're going to do the video for it. I'm like, all right.
Okay.
So I've done 3 for them so far. And then this new one that is almost done. They're doing a couple pickup shots for me next week in Chicago. So that should be out in hopefully the next month or so. And the video of Carrie's should hopefully be out in the same time frame. And then I think the next thing is working on interviewing everybody and just working on getting our things out to people. And again, I don't have a super specific plan. In my crazy brain, I'm thinking I would love to do shows around the country, find little independent theaters or even clubs or anything like that, and just start introducing it into different regions and getting people's reactions.
You need to come to Asheville. Asheville's perfect for that.
Oh, yes.
100%. I would love to. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about where you live, and you're on my bucket list to visit.
Definitely.
Anytime. Now, another thing people don't realize is aside from your filmmaking career, you have a other whole full-time job. I mean, that's
like
also
really full-time.
Yes, that's very creative. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how do you find the time? Also, you're married and so you've got this very full life. How do you balance it? And can you tell us a little bit about your other job?
Sure. I mentioned I started in a warehouse pulling orders when I was 18. And that's where I met a lot of the people who ended up becoming cast members. But I started in a warehouse pulling orders. I saw that they had an art department. I said, this is what I really love to do because I come from a family of artists. My dad was a illustrator. My sister does LGBTQ history or like ancient history gay picture books, I guess they are.
Oh,
She'll
wow.
do like 100 paintings for these things and write all the text and everything. So she's working on 2 new books right now. She has 2 out so far. So I expressed to them that I'd like to be in the art department. They're like, well, did you go to school? Like, no, but you know, I'm working here. So at one point after I'd been there for, I want to say maybe a year and a half, they said, okay, we're going to give you a chance. And they started me. I would work in the office in the morning in the art department and then have lunch and then go back to the warehouse and pull orders in the afternoon.
Wow.
And I did this for a while. I think they liked me. They only had 1 job opening and they gave it to somebody who knew somebody, I was told. So I was very bummed. I really hated this person. She has, of course, become one of my very dearest friends in the world. And she's in all my films. But gosh, those first couple of days, I hated her. So she started and they're like, sorry, Erik, back to the warehouse with you. And then somebody else in the department quit. And they said, you know what? We're going to keep both of you.
Yes.
And so I ended up being at this company for 17 years. By the time I left, I'd been art director for 10 years, I think. And from there, I moved into television. I worked for Channel 26, The U in Chicago, which has sort of become MeTV. If you're familiar with MeTV, they show like all the classic TV shows. So I worked for them. And from there, I went into news. I worked for ABC News in Chicago. They trained me how to do that.
Wow.
I'm super fast. So they like that in news because, you know, you'll get a request. They'll call you and say, hey, there's a big fire down at, you know, this street and this street. And we need a map and we're coming to you in a minute and a half. Get on it. So, you know, it keeps you on your toes.
Wow.
So I worked for ABC News in Chicago and then I moved out to LA and I started working for Good Day LA. And I was there for 7 years. And from there, I went to ABC News in LA. And then they called me at my current job. They called me from there and they're like, hey, would you come over here? I'm like, oh no. and then they're like, just come talk to us. So I got there and they told me, you know, all the things that they work on, all the things they have to offer. So I've been there for 13 and a half years now. And I'm a creative director at this point. But, you know, I work on a lot of the photo shoots and work with talent. And I do key art for the shows, which is we'll do the photos and then I'll come up with the concept and do the art that represents the entire show.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so when people ask like, hey, why aren't you doing a new film? I'm like, do you know that I'm in my 60s and I'm real tired when I get home from work? But
how do you handle the overwhelm? How do you handle the overwhelm of it? Like, how do you? Because I need to know.
Well, I will tell you the wisdom from my husband, Tony, and when I get overwhelmed, he says, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's right.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, yeah, can't argue that.
You really can't. I love it because it's very similar to Jackie's story, right? Because she was kind of, yeah. Well, no, when like the first job that you got offered and you didn't even know how to type, but you were there and they were, you know, you kind of just jumped into the role. And the 3 of us, you know, are doing something that we didn't go to school for. So I love all these like alternate paths. I find it like so inspiring when people are just like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And I don't care what I went to school for, or if I went to school, I'm just going to go for it because I have this passion.
That's what I really, you know, I think it's important for people to realize is that there is no one path to this thing that you want to get to. There's the one that people will tell you. They'll say, oh, you have to do, you know, all these steps in a row. You don't. I mean, my story is not going to be somebody else's story, but you can get there. And it may not even be where you thought you'd wind up or where you intended to wind up, but you just gotta follow that path and take the opportunities as they come. And, you know, that's how you find your success and you find where you're supposed to be.
100%.
And like the films that I've been doing for 42 years, they prepared me for stepping onto the set with, you know, somebody that I've watched on TV since I was a kid and kind of bossing them around, being like, no, I need you to do this. And, you know, but they everybody's been super sweet about things too. Cause I come in with a plan, but I come in like, hey, I'm going to take care of you. It's going to be a good day. I'm your retoucher. So you got something you don't like, you tell me, I got you. And, I didn't know until I looked back that my path actually was pretty clear from the films and the way that I had worked my way up.
Speaking of opportunity, can you
Yes.
tell us the story about the New Beverly premiere, how that happened, how Quentin
Sure.
Tarantino is somewhat involved, and about your
Sort of.
experience? I heard you got a standing ovation, so do tell.
Yeah. So the New Beverly is somewhere that they show classic films. And I love this place so much. And especially at that time, we were going there probably 3 times a week for double features. So that's a lot of hours that we spent there. So we got to know the manager, Michael, and Tony. Tony's always been my biggest advocate. Like whenever we do a project, he's like, so what do you see? How would you like this to go? What do you want to do with this? And there are things like, for a while when we were in Chicago, I'm like, well, my goal was to be on Wild Chicago, because it was this TV show on PBS that would go all around and kind of focus on the wacky people in town doing kooky things. And so he was like, all right, let me see what I can do. And he made it happen. We were on Wild Chicago. I'll send you the link. It's super fun. and like everybody was in costume from the film. It was crazy and silly, and Carrie's very saucy with the host. So when we were out here, we shot Doormat, and then I had to figure out how to edit, because I didn't know how to edit on Premiere or any digital platform. So that took me a little bit. But when I was finally getting close, Tony's like, all right, what do you want to do with this? And I said, I would love to show this at the New Bev, but that can't happen. He's like, hold on, let me see what I can do. So he spoke to Michael, and Michael's like, we have an opening on this Saturday afternoon, and you want it? They treated it as a rental. So we paid whatever to rent it out. And then any ticket sales went to me. Any food, beverage sales went to the theater, which is cool. And, we had a really good crowd and very enthusiastic crowd. And it was this dream to be in my favorite place, seeing my work up on this giant screen with all my friends. And it was really cool. It was like a dream come true.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's amazing.
So I guess part of it is putting out there what you're trying to accomplish or what your dreams are. Because, and finding the people who will support you in that and go, let me see what I can do.
Yes. I feel like sometimes naming things, and I do this with my husband a lot, right? Like where I say, like, I have this crazy dream. Like there is no way this is going to happen. But I'm like, I need to say it, because then I feel like the universe is going to conspire to make it happen. Like if I
100%
put it out there, and maybe it doesn't look exactly like what I initially envisioned, or, but it takes like a power, right? Like once you put it out there, it like takes this energy, this power, and eventually it could happen. So
that's all
better.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something you never expected.
Yeah.
And how cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how the podcast happened. We didn't know anything about it. It was like, I want to do a podcast.
I have to tell you. So I've listened to all of your episodes that have been posted thus far. I've learned a lot. I've loved hearing your stories.
Oh.
Jackie, I knew a little bit of your story, but, it was cool to have a lot of the details filled in. And, it's great to hear people's journeys and like the things that we all feel like we all deal with a lot of similar sort of obstacles. A lot of them we put in our own way.
Yes.
And I love, but I love that you're doing this and you're talking to these, you've talked to some really cool people, and like I look up their art, I'm like, oh, this is so cool too.
Yeah.
I follow you guys and your art, and it's beautiful, of course. And I love hearing like what goes into it from your perspective, because it's always different from the viewer's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're trying to build community too, in a way like, so how would you ever know one of our other guests? But by listening to the podcast, you might like this poet that you would have never. That's what we're trying to do, is connect people through this platform, help promote people, get our guests out in front of people that maybe hadn't discovered them yet. So it's so rewarding.
Yeah, I like normalizing too, like a lot of the struggle, right? Because I think it can be so lonely, in the studio. I'm sure for you, like when you're editing, it can feel so lonely and you're like, nobody ever goes through this. And then you sit down and talk about it and you're like, oh, everybody goes through this, right?
Absolutely.
And just talking about it normalizes it so that because I don't think a creative career, it's linear.
No.
They're very, and maybe eventually once you step back, you're like, oh, it was linear, right? But it doesn't feel that way when you're in it. It's kind of like zigzags and spirals and backwards and forwards. So just talking about it with other people just normalizes a lot of that and makes us feel like less lonely.
Absolutely. And I've loved, hearing the journeys that you have both had to where you are now. It's so cool. And
hopefully it's just the beginning.
And it's inspiring. And thank you for doing this. And thank you for like really embracing different types of artists too. Like as I started going through and I was like, oh, a poet, this is cool. And then is it your sister-in-law with the living paintings?
Oh gosh, yes. She's amazing.
Like how cool. And I'm listening going, I had no idea that this was a thing.
I know.
Amazing.
So inspiring. Yeah, I think that was important for us too, is bringing in different type of creatives. Both Jack and I are visual artists, but there is so many ways, so many different creative careers, right? So it was important to us to explore all of it. Like we interviewed the Scout Guide, and that's a completely different, right? She's putting that publication together. But again, it's very creative. You're putting your heart into it. So that was definitely important to us.
And that's the thing we all have in common.
So we are so happy that you said yes.
Yes, so happy.
Thank you so much. And I've never done one of these before, but
Me neither.
This will be your first.
That's why we're perfect.
Exactly.
But before we let you go, we've got some rapid fire questions if you're down. You down?
Let me take a drink of water first. Yes.
Yeah, take a deep breath. You got this.
Okay.
We're going to count points. No, I'm kidding. No, not.
No. Okay.
Lay it on me.
Super 8 or digital?
Super 8.
Thrift store treasure or expensive prop?
Thrift store every time.
I knew you were going to say that. Favorite movie musical?
Ooh, tough one. Wizard of Oz still has to win because it inspires everything.
One word your collaborators would use to describe you. Do we need to have Carrie come on the podcast?
you might. The safe word would be creative, I suppose, but hopefully it's more boundary pusher.
Oh, I like that.
Hopefully.
So, biggest creative risk you've ever taken?
Ooh. I mean, I did a feature-length musical on Super 8, and I had people come to me and say, you can't do that. I'm like, but I did it.
I just did.
My 6-year-old could do that.
Exactly. But they didn't, did they?
They did. Most prized possession from your film archives?
Wow, that's a tough one too. It would definitely be a costume. Okay, there's 3 things. There's a pink gorilla costume that Uncle Alice trudged around Chicago in for Lost. There's a dress that we called the dinosaur dress that was a thrift store purchase in 1984. It was well beyond my budget. It was like $12. And that was so expensive to me. And I treasure this costume so much. I gave it away for an auction once for a fundraiser, and they used it and they ultimately gave it back to me. And so I hold that very dear.
Oh.
And then the third one would be the evil Nutcracker from my movie Nutcracker. And I put him out every year at Christmas time. And he was just a nutcracker that we found at TJ Maxx. And my sister took him and painted like monster teeth on him and stuff.
Oh,
and, yeah.
They're always kind of scary.
They are.
I love nutcrackers.
That's how this movie came about, though. Like, we were in TJ Maxx and I was just chasing her around and making the mouth move, going, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." and she's running through the store screaming. And I was like, hey, you know what? There's
a movie.
There's a movie there. So, if your life were one of your movie titles, what would it be called?
Ooh, problem child.
I love that. Okay, what is something people would be surprised to learn about you?
A lot of people will be surprised to learn that I'm a filmmaker that has had audiences come to see my movies. Yeah, that's probably
awesome.
the biggest one, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because I like the places that I worked, I never tell them because it's, I'm not casting anything at the moment, so they don't need to know.
They have no idea. It is like a secret life. When I tell the people at my job that I paint, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're always so surprised.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool having a secret identity.
It is.
For sure. What's your name? What's your movie name?
What do you mean?
Like Carried Away, I'm Shantae You Stay.
Oh, Lars Erik.
Lars Erik. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You see my name down there.
Yes. Yes.
And that's because there's an author named Erik Larson. He wrote The Devil in the White City. There's also a comic book guy named Erik Larson. So when I show up at the airport and I show my ID, sometimes people get very excited. And then I say, I'm not that Erik Larson.
Not that Erik.
Oh.
So I came up with Lars Erik to sort of set me a little bit apart.
And it's one word. I like it.
Yes.
Or it's showing up as one word on our screen.
No, it is. It's one word. Yeah.
Like Cher or Madonna.
With a capital E. Yes. There in every way, yes.
So if you could tell little 10-year-old Erik, if you could go back and give him some advice, what would it be?
It would be, it's going to be okay. You're going to find your people. Because for a lot of childhood and young adulthood, I felt very lonely. And once I got into the working world and started making friendships, realized these are my people, and they're still my tribe all these decades later. And I'm so, so grateful for that. But, to the little kid who feels so alone, just know that you're going to be okay. You're going to find the right people that you're supposed to find.
And they'll be in all your films for 40 years.
They will, and you won't pay them anything.
This was so much fun.
It was great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being a guest. We've learned a lot.
So tell us how people can find you.
Yeah.
You can find me. I'm on Instagram at Lars Erik Films. Sometimes I'm a little spotty about posting, but I'll try to get better. You can also find my website, larserikfilms.com. Try to make it real easy. It looks like it says Laser Rick. It doesn't. It's Lars Erik. Also, YouTube, Lars Erik Films. And that's where you can find some of the things that I've let out into the public and where I will be putting new things as I have them available.
Oh, great. We're going to stalk you there for sure. I want to see all these films.
You're going to see the stuff and be like, oh, wow, we really should have watched this and vetted him.
I don't think so. All right,
well, thank
everybody.
you so much. This was so fun.
Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we're friends in real life. I mean, Jackie and I were kind of friends in real life. We see each other
now you
once
need to come
every
to Asheville, and
15 years.
Yeah, we can be friends in real life too.
Yes.
Excellent. I love it. Now I have an extra reason to come.
That's right. And I think we have some funky theaters, don't we, in Asheville? I'm pretty sure we do.
I don't know.
We got funky everything.
We got funky everything.
This is a funky town. Funky town.
How long have you been there, Jackie?
Oh my gosh. I always have to, let's see, almost 28 years.
Wow.
We came here. We moved here from LA. I met my husband, and we moved here before we had a Target, a Trader Joe's, a Starbucks. I mean, it was like primitive.
Wow. How did you survive?
I don't know. We drove really far to get to Trader Joe's. And I learned how to make my own damn coffee. But it was, we were roughing it for sure.
Roughing it.
When you come from LA, I guess that's roughing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Gina, how long have you been there?
6 years, since 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have not been roughing it.
Both of you love it, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it.
All right. So I forgot how we close these episodes. What do we say?
I think we just say thank you and bye.
And we'll catch
we
you
just say bye.
Don't we say something about tune in to the next episode? How many have we done? We don't know how to end it yet.
I don't know. We always have the same conversation.
Let's make something up.
All right,
Thanks
you go.
for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please follow us on Instagram at The Art Confidential. You can follow Andreina at By Andreina. You can follow me at Jackie Fell to keep up with everything that's going on. And we appreciate you listening. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. If you are loving these behind-the-scenes confessions, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating or a review. It helps The Art Confidential reach more listeners and keeps this creative conversation growing.
Follow us on Instagram at The Art Confidential, where you can send us your questions, comments, or future topic requests. We'd love to hear from you. And you can find us personally at By Andreina.